Unbeaten in their last 5 games, the Sabres look to continue their strong play. Whaling today, the Civic Center in Hartford. Good afternoon, hockey fans in Western New York and Southern Ontario. I'm John Gertler along with my partner Jim Lorenz. John Muckler mentioned a couple of days ago that he would like to improve the transition from defense to offense by getting the puck up to his top scorers and also improve on size. And he picked up some good players yesterday with 2 of those categories in Gary Galley and Scott Pearson.
Let's start first of all with Gary Galley. Gary Galley, I think, certainly will improve this hockey club. He is a veteran player, has played over 700 games in the NHL. He's played 64 playoff games. Very good offensively, and I think this is where the Sabres will gain. I don't think Peter Swoboda on the offensive side provided the kind of scoring and points that the Sabres would have liked. Gary Galley is an offensive defenseman. John Muckler was telling us before the game here today that he expects Galley will lift up the power play, and I think that's one area that's going to improve with Galley. He also mentioned he's going to play him with Doug Bodger, which should be a big plus. Both players offensive players, and he wants that Bodger and Gary Galley to play with Pat LaFontaine line.
Scott Pearson, he's got the size.
Well, the one area that the Sabres were looking to improve upon was size up front. Scott Pearson's 6'1", over 200 pounds, former draft pick of the Toronto Maple Leafs, 6th overall player taken by the Leafs a number of years ago. But Scott Pearson was a great scorer in junior, and I think the Sabres need that size up front. He also plays a feisty type of game, aggressive. He will take penalties.
2 players with strong personalities. One in Gary Galley, he's a friendly guy, and Pearson is too. Jim, what does that do on the chemistry side of the fence?
I think one of the things you worry if you're a general manager trying to make a trade, trying to change the look of your team, you have to be careful with that, with the chemistry. You want to make sure that if you make a deal that you get guys that you feel that can come in and step in and get along with the players and get along with the style of play. Obviously, John Muckler, he's been around for a long time. He's got a good handle on who these players are. And Gary Galley has always been noted as a good team guy and a character guy, and so is Scott Pearson.
Pat LaFontaine will not play today, a part of the back-to-back game process and his rehabilitation with the knee. Nothing's the matter. He's still ready for tomorrow against the Boston Bruins. So Peter Ambrosiak has been recalled from the Rochester Americans. Now to the Hartford Whalers side of things. No change in their roster, and they finished a 5-game road trip, 500, including a big game on Wednesday night against the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Well, they did. It was an 8-4 victory for the Hartford Whalers, and they're just, 5 points behind the Buffalo Sabres in that conference. They look to guys like Darren Turcotte, who is one of the top snipers on the team. Turcotte with 13 goals this season, just a couple behind Jeff Sanderson for the team lead. But Turcotte, during his years with the New York Rangers, had 4 years where he had a couple of years over 30 goals and a couple of other years in the high 20s. So he's a player the Sabres will have to pay attention to, particularly when Hartford has a man advantage.
One player that's been a surprise, Andrei Nikolitin.
Yeah, and I was talking to Jerry Cheevers, who does television for Hartford. He's very high in this kid. He scored 2 goals against the Sabres in the last meeting between these 2 clubs. Very talented, who's gaining the confidence, and he should be a factor today, too.
The tour of New England continues this afternoon. Period number 1 coming up after this. Great afternoon crowd on hand here today at the Hartford Civic Center. This afternoon, starting goalies are brought to you by Continental Airlines. More airline for your money. Dominic Hasek between the pipes for Buffalo. 1.87 goals against average. In 28 games, a record of 14-7-6. And Sean Burke, a respectable 2.63 goals against average. In 29 games, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, not 3.52, but 2.63 for Sean Burke. A record of 12-11-4. The officials this afternoon, Don Van Massenhoven is the referee, Pat DiPuzzo and Kevin Collins, the linesman. And here we go for this afternoon's game here from the Hartford Civic Center. Buffalo leading the shortened series 2-0. And a victory on Tuesday night in Buffalo big time. And Jim Lorenz, let's take a look at this afternoon's scratches.
Brought to you by Vicks Deep Discount and Pharmacy. We mentioned Pat LaFontaine scratched today. Will not play back-to-back games. Will play tomorrow afternoon against the Boston Bruins. And scratched today for the Hartford Whalers include Jim Sandlak, Glenn Featherstone, because of that incident in Buffalo when he tossed his helmet at the usher, received a 4-game suspension by the NHL.
And he is currently in game number 2 of that 4-game suspension. Sat out on Wednesday night against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Gary Galley wears number 3 for Buffalo, teamed up with Bodger. Kelly Chase is doing some pretty big hitting. He just threw an elbow into the face of Matthew Barnaby. Chase wears 27. He did not play on Tuesday night's game in Buffalo. Immediately, the Whalers want to put some pressure on to this Buffalo club. John Muckler would like to counter with the speed and the finesse, and here's Bodger trying to set up Bob Sweeney. I'll talk to you about this afternoon's lineup, what with Pat LaFontaine out, as Bodger captures from his own zone and sends it down into the Whalers' corner. Opening minute of play this afternoon from Hartford. Nice to have you with us. Hope you're enjoying your afternoon in Western New York and Southern Ontario. Big game for Buffalo, as it has been for the last 5. Record of 4-0-1. Sabres with 35 points coming into this afternoon's game. Had 2 more for 37, beg your pardon, as Mogilny comes across the line.
Now, Pat LaFontaine not in the lineup today, so that means Dale Howard-Chuck has gone between Jason Don Mogilny.
Adam Burke pokes it down along the end boards, and that is frozen by Dominic Hasek. And that will create a face-off down to the left side of the Buffalo net. This is the Jim Doyle Ford power play period. If the Sabres score a power play goal and your name is chosen, you're the winner of 2 tickets to a future Sabres game, dinner for 2, and $100 worth of service at Jim Doyle Ford. We'll announce the winners at the end of this period.
Dale Howard-Chuck did not play the 3rd period in Boston. We talked to him before today's game. He said he was feeling okay, just a little bit tired, and they just didn't want Howard-Chuck to push it. So Howard-Chuck at center here to take this face-off with Jason Don, Alexander Mogilny.
Working the big line this afternoon. Howard-Chuck with 3 points in the last 2 games that he's played. Set up Yuri Himonet along with Derek Plant. And that power play goal on Thursday night against Boston. Puck is forced down into the Buffalo corner. Here's Greg Muni. Out to center to Howard-Chuck. Shoveling move to Alexander Mogilny, who streaks down the right wing. Powers his way alone in the Hartford zone. Works it from the corner where his strengths are. As Huddy tried to get the shot away, Ted Drury blocking that one, and Hasek comes out for a little stroll. Here in the first period, no score. Sabres tying Boston on Thursday night, 1-1. Brad McCrimmon into the lineup this afternoon. Paul Ranheim, rinked wide. Jocelyn Lemieux over the line. Tied up with Doug Huda, breaks free. Plan in. Doing a little back checking. Donald Audette waits for that puck. Nice move by Audette. He got it down into the Hartford zone. Yuri Himonet after it. Sean Burke plays it from the boards. Here's Frank Kuchera. Tipping it rinked wide, and Huddy will take a bouncing puck from his own zone. Himonet backhand blind to Presley. Nice connection. Cruising in is Quint with a shot. And Burke makes a nice kick save. Galley. Good pass to Bodger with the shoot-in. Takes a funny ride along the glass here at the Civic Center. Clearing it out is Lemieux, stopped by Bodger. Low shot blocked off the shoulder of Burke. He rides it back out to center. Bodger sends it right back in. Rob Ray is out now with Wayne Presley and Dave Hannon. And this was the scheduled line before the start of this afternoon's game. The 3 will most likely play all game long as Hannon tips it up to his line mate Presley. Presley colliding with Burke down to the near side. Igor Chimarev, who scored 3 on Wednesday night. DeMarc Chanson's with a shot. Hasek not taking any risks. Kelly Chase, and he gets wrapped up with Gary Galley. But Chase wants to show his physical presence with this hockey club from Hartford. And the linesmen are there to hold them back. Buffalo bench, a very busy general manager.
I think he got tired of looking at the walls and the ceiling in Boston. He said he spent 2 days in his room on the telephone and trying to do some last-minute work and managed to make those 2 trades for Buffalo. And Gary Galley has already made a couple of excellent plays, and is one of the guys that John Muckler acquired. Pearson, as he lines up for this face-off, he's with Matthew Barnaby and Alexander Mogilny for this draw.
Wearing number
Bob Sweeney, I should say.
29. Here's Brian Glynn with a shot. Save. Hasek rebound. It's stopped right at the line. No goal. Hasek stopped it before it went across the goal line. What a spectacular save by Hasek.
Well, that's highway robbery, isn't it? Off a face-off, Hasek, who seldom has problems controlling the shot, had problems with this one, but boy, did he ever redeem himself. This is a clean draw, won by the Whalers, and watch in front of the net. That's Kelly Chase on the left of the screen, skating in, and Hasek has the puck in the trapper. Pearson had his arm up in the air, as well as a couple of other Whalers, but it's no goal, and another face-off coming up in the Sabres zone.
Whalers looking for officers from the Connecticut Highway Patrol to see if indeed that puck might have been beaten across the line. No chance. Now the referee, Don Van Massenhoven, Jim, is going to talk to the video goal judge.
Now this is not in. The puck, even if it... That's not even close to going across the line, but they are going to review it, I understand. And Dominic Hasek, we see him down there shaking his head. No goal. Of course, we had one of those in Boston also. Well, the puck glanced off the goalpost to the right of Hasek. Bruins thought it was in. They reviewed it, and that one wasn't even close.
An exceptional move by the Dominator, Dominic Hasek, and the judging continues from the officials here at the Civic Center in Hartford, and Don Van Massenhoven says no way, no goal.
That was a pretty good play actually by Kelly Chase as he controlled the puck with his skate and managed to kick it back up to a stick, so that goal would have stood. He did get a stick on it for a moment. I thought he might have just directed it with his skate, but he did have a stick on it, but Hasek was better.
Back to action, left side of the Buffalo net as we focus in on the face-off dot. With Dale Howard-Chuck against Andrew Castles. Nice draw, Castles. Sanderson tried to get the shot away. That went off the heel of his stick, and Schmelik clears for Buffalo. No score here in the first period. We have played 4 minutes. There's Castles' shot blocked by Muni, and he takes Castles along with him, allowing Buffalo to break out at center with Alexander Mogilny and Jason Daw over the Hartford line. Here's Mogilny backhanding the puck, and Brian Glynn has got it for Hartford. Lays it high along the glass. Bounces right to the Buffalo line. Huda clears it back over, and here's a break for Alexander Mogilny. Save Burke. Mogilny getting his own rebound with the wraparound. Tried to shove it into the short side. Again, Mogilny. His third chance went wide. Gilney now going over to Charlie Hoodie with a shot, and Burke allowing no rebound on that one as the big Buffalo flurry in this game. Test John Burke.
And it was Alexander Mogilny who was in one-on-one against the Hartford goaltender. And I think Mogilny tries to go between the legs of Sean Burke. Mogilny was forced to shoot the puck, though. You can see from the replay that he was being cut off from the side. There's another opportunity for Mogilny by Brian Glenn. And I think Mogilny would have wanted to skate in a little bit closer than shoot the puck from that area, but he was not able to do it. But a good save by Burke.
Alexander Mogilny only 1 point in the last 3 games. The Sabres certainly have to get a little bit more out of him, especially in this critical moment of where they are in the Eastern Conference standings. With a record of 16, 12, and 6 for 38 points. Here comes Darren Turcotte, 89 for the Whalers. Andre Nikolation to Frank Kuchera with a backhand. Rebound off the pads of Hasek. He got a little help from his friends, but Hasek making that last save and an icing call against Buffalo. So both ends of the ice.
That was a great play by Hartford to move the puck from their own end, and it resulted in a scoring opportunity on Hasek, and this is a marvelous save. Look at this passing by the Whalers at the bottom of the screen. Here comes a Hartford defenseman following up on the play, and here's the big save as Hasek robs the Whalers again, but an excellent play by Kuchera to move up on the rush. And Hasek has to be strong in the nets again for the Buffalo Sabres. Beautifully executed passing play by Hartford. But they can't beat the Dominator.
Dominic Hasek and crew into this afternoon's game. The best in goals against, only allowing 79 in the National Hockey League. Frank Kuchera, number 4, with a wrist shot off the pads of Hasek.
The Sabres have to start bearing down on faceoffs. They've lost 3 or 4 drives that weren't even close, where Hartford just pulling it right back to the defenseman.
Presley, Cannon, and Ray over the Hartford line. Burke out for a little stroll himself, loses his balance, has to play it as per the directions of Don Van Massenhoven. No score here in the first period. Here's Jocelyn Lemieux flipping over the Buffalo line. Centering pass foiled off the stick of Hasek as Cannon uses Botcher to get it out of the Buffalo zone. Cleared over the Hartford line to the right side of Burke, and we'll have an offside call in addition to the cover-up that Sean Burke did. The general, Dave Hannon, as he goes by the name.
He continues his excellent play with Buffalo. A lot of Sabre fans here today. You know, we walked out of the hotel, which is just across the street here from the Civic Center, and there was a whole crew of them lined up in the steps, yelling and screaming and having a good time. A number of people...
well, I paid some of those guys to yell at us.
Oh, it's all positive, though.
Of course. Hoots and hollering. Having a good day. It's snowing here in Hartford today, and that kind of puts the fans in a tizzy. Craig Muni in his own zone with Richard Schmelik. Now down the left wing. Schmelik hit hard by Jansen. Here's Glenn Wesley tipping it out to center. Schmelik will send it in while the forwards get on side. Scott Pearson, wired from the Edmonton Oilers, out now wearing 29 for Buffalo. Richard Schmelik down into his own zone. Shivarev after that puck. Nice move by Schmelik as he just rolled the board, then took the hit. Sweeney, quick drop to Barnaby as Pearson awaits at the line. That's picked off by Wesley. Out to center and back in it goes. First period, 13:20 left to play. No score. Shots 5-4 favoring Hartford. Finished a 5-game road trip, 2-2-1, including that big 8-4 victory on Wednesday night.
That was pretty significant for Hartford. After being beaten badly by Buffalo, they managed to rebound a couple of nights later against the Penguins.
And the Whalers in the thick of things in the playoff race of the Eastern Conference. 33 points. Tied with the New York Rangers, who lost again yesterday. Rangers are experiencing their problems. A record of 2-9 in their last 11 games. Castle's getting it up the boards. Now across the Buffalo line and into the corner. Here's Doug Huda. Keen with Charlie Huddy. Up front is Jason Dog, Howard Chuck, and Mo Gilman. Frank Kuchera. And the offensive-minded defenseman, a little too fast for the forwards, and they're cut for offside. Our coverage of Buffalo Sabres hockey continues this afternoon on the Empire Sports Network. Take on the Boston Bruins in an afternoon game beginning at 3 o'clock. The first 12,000 fans in attendance will receive a nice towel, courtesy of Nice, the New York Gas Exchange. Tickets are available at the odd box office or call the Ticketmaster location.
Well, no score in this game. Hartford with 6 shots on goal and some great scoring chances. Sabres have to tighten up in their own zone. A little bit too loose against the Whalers.
Charlie Huddy over the Whalers line, trying to get something going. Frank Kuchera right back out. 16 points for the blue liner of Hartford. Kevin Smith, recently recalled from Springfield, wearing number 14, on the line out there with Andrew Castles and Jeff Sanderson. Huddy brings it out for Buffalo as Jason Daw and Andrew Castles got tied up with each other, and they're still hacking away as the play goes down into the Hartford zone. Here's Kuchera. Up to Kevin Smith. Late pass perfect to Andrew Castles. Nicely poked by Gary Galley. Where's 3 for Buffalo? Fired yesterday from the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for Peter Svoboda. Alexander Mogilny sneaking in from the right wing. Nice move by Mogilny. His shot straight on. Burke. Plant couldn't finish it off, and Wesley gets it out for the Whalers. No score here in the first. Andrei Nikolitin worked 2 on Tuesday night in Buffalo. Works that puck nicely into the Sabres corner. Kicking it along with the blade of his skate. Galley losing his stick in the process. Rides along with the puck. Ted Drury couldn't get a piece of it. Hasek pokes it up to Donald Audette. Turcotte took a swipe at it, and here come the Sabres over the Whalers line. Yuri Himolev with the backhand. Stopped by Turcotte. Wesley and Audette collided into each other, and Wesley is slow getting back to the Hartford bench. Nikolitin into the corner with Himolev. Schmelik providing help as well, getting it away from 2 Whalers, and Himolev's open down in his own corner. No score here in the first. Shot 6-4, favoring the Whalers. Goes over and down into the corner. Donald Audette thrown down to the ice by Brian Glenn as the big youngster Chris Pronger for Hartford, number 44, brings it across the line. Hasek plays it along the far boards. Hannon and Glenn get tied up with each other. Schmelik tipping it up, intercepted, and a hard shot labeled on by Paul Ranheim, who was working that right point. Just incredible, Jim, by the way Hasek directs the pucks on his rebounds.
He's made a couple of really good plays in there, shoveling the puck up to the forwards, shooting the puck up along the boards, stopping it behind the net. That's all part of goaltending.
Presley is upended at his own line. Hannon waits for his forces to come across the Hartford line, and Ray's got to get himself on side. Wow, Huda just shot it in. Whalers breaking out at center. Igor Chibarev, number 32, stretching it over to Jocelyn Lemieux to the backhand, intended for Janssens, and Hasek got in the way of that one. Barnaby playing with Huda down into the Sabres corner. He's forced to play it along the near board. Presley getting it out. Chase stops it. Kuchera sends it over. Now to Chase for the shot. Save. Hasek. Rebound. Hartford. And the puck just went right through the pads of Hasek. Hartford knocking on the door. Kuchera pinching in. Tried to set up Chibarev. And he lost that shot. Kelly Chase. Nice hit with Doug Huda. Loose puck. Hartford. Save. Hasek. Now Kelly Chase and Doug Huda want to have a little dance. Kevin Collins, the linesman, won't let him do it. We'll be back.
Intense pressure on the Sabres. This is where the Sabres got into trouble against the Boston Bruins, as they gave the puck away, were not able to clear it out of the zone. You see Presley desperately trying, and this is what ends up, or this is what happens. A couple of scoring chances. Look at Hasek down on the ice. Hartford will end up with another opportunity, but they cannot score on the goaltender, all because the Sabres could not move the puck out of the zone. That's how important that is.
Penalty is coming up against Hartford as Hasek goes to the bench. The extra attacker is Dale Howardchuk in this scoreless game. And the first call of the afternoon, an interference mark against the Whalers. The game on Tuesday night, which Jim Lorenz featured some 144 penalty minutes. It's pretty tame here this afternoon.
Well, so far it is. You're right. That was a nasty game the last time these two clubs met. The first penalty of today's hockey game goes to the Hartford Whalers, and the Sabres. This is what maybe the break that they were looking for to turn the momentum of this game. Mark Janssens is in the box. 11 shots on goal for the Whalers so far, with 8:33 to go here in the opening period. And oftentimes, a penalty like this, when your club is really going well, all the lines, you're free flowing, you got a good flow to the game going, and then you have to kill a penalty. Oftentimes that takes that momentum away from your club, and it's tough to regain. We'll see what happens.
With Pat LaFontaine sitting out the game, Dale Howardchuk goes up front at center. Gary Galley joins the pointman with Doug Bodger. Mogilny works with Audette as well. Power play number 1 for Buffalo. Gary Galley faking the shot. Mogilny rinks wide over to Bodger, plays it from the boards. Howardchuk lets it go to the near side to Mogilny. Here's Audette with a shot. Burke with a nice pad save, and the puck is cleared by the Whalers.
Sean Burke hasn't had a lot of shots here, but he's had some difficult ones, and that was an excellent save on a point-blank hard slap shot from Donald Audette.
Second half of the first period. 7:53 remaining. No score. Buffalo is forced to recalibrate this offense down in their own zone.
We mentioned Gary Galley would help the power play. He's on the point with Doug Bodger.
Galley to the top of the slot. Nice pass over to Dale Howard-Chuck. Over to Audet, who shoots it wide. Howard-Chuck getting the rebound. Bodger's low shot just to the left side of the Hartford net. Galley rides it up along the board. Here's Howard-Chuck hit by Pronger. McGillney takes over. Allows the formation to be set up. Galley shot blocked by Andre Nikolic as he goes twirling in pain down to the ice surface. Bouncing puck to Pronger. Makes a bounce along the glass now, and Nikolic clears it. Makes his way over to the Hartford bench. 29 seconds left in the penalty to Hartford. Audet over the line with Howard-Chuck and Mogilny. Here's Howard-Chuck from his skate, and Burke stops that puck. A very sharp Sean Burke this afternoon.
For the third consecutive year, Uline is sponsoring.
At a faceoff coming up in the Hartford zone to the left of Sean Burke, born in Windsor, Ontario. 6'4" and 210-pounder. You talk to anyone from Hartford and they'll say that Sean Burke has been their most valuable player. The Sabres working that puck to the front. Puck was actually knocked loose by Howard-Chuck. The referee had blown the whistle as he lost sight of the puck. And they'll drop it to the left of Sean Burke.
His 30th game this afternoon for the Whalers on this shortened season. Here's Andrew Castles, shorthanded with 14 seconds left in the penalty to Jansen. No score here in the first. Hasek to Muni. Muni back over to Plant, who brings it out for the Sabres. Working with Yuri Himonev and Jason Duff. Here the slap of Hasek's stick indicating that the penalty is over. And the Whalers are the full straight.
Now there's that play again. Derek Plant comes attacking across the line. There are 4 Whalers lined up at the blue line. You must get the puck in deep. You cannot stick handle your way into the zone. Plant lost the puck, and Hartford easily cleared it away. So get the puck in deep.
Here come the Whalers again over the line as Jimmy Carson. Drop pass to a flying Paul Ranheim. He's all over the ice here in the first period. This scoreless game. Wesley, low shot. Anderson got a piece of it. It snuck through to Hasek, who clears it. Wesley showing his presence physically out there. Now Muni brings it out for the Sabres. Shooting it in off the blocking pad of Burke, and Adam Burke will tip it along the boards to Jocelyn Lemieux. Sneaks out. Ray is there to shoot it back across. 5:45 left here in the first period. No score. Shots 11-7 favoring the Whalers. William Wesley. Lead pass up to Jeff Sanderson. Leading goal scorer with 15. Here's Hannon. Forced to get away from Sanderson and a broken stick. Rob Ray clears it in for Buffalo off the stick of Brad McRibben. Frank Kuchera from behind his net. Andrew Castles, the playmaker of the Whalers. Now to the goal scorer, Jeff Sanderson. He loses the edge of his skate. Putty tips it up to Rob Ray, who finds Dave Hannon just over the Hartford line. Buffalo changing up on the fly. Scott Pearson along with Matthew Barnaby out now. Castles over the Buffalo line. Slip shot. Sanderson saved the Dominator. What a shot by Sanderson.
The Sabres win their first ever playoff game against the Montreal Canadiens. Gilbert Perreault with a big night to lead the Sabres, and he had many big nights during his career as a member of Buffalo. Faceoff coming up here to the right of Dominic Hasek.
Bob Sweeney into position. Did a couple of strong games back to back. His injury of the shoulder is not flaring up too much. And again, Jim Lorenzi mentioned to us this morning that he feels another shorthanded goal coming on.
That's what he said. He walked in the studio and says, "I've got that feeling again today." And the last time he told us that was in Long Island. He scored 2 shorthanded goals.
See what happens this afternoon here in Hartford.
Now the Sabres haven't taken a penalty yet. There's only been 1 penalty in the hockey game, and the Whalers killed that off successfully. Great goaltending at both ends here tonight. Total of 19 shots. 12 for Dominic Hasek and 7 for Sean Burke.
Out of those 144 minutes on Tuesday night in Buffalo, 94 of them were in the third period. Things got a little ugly. Here's Bob Sweeney down, lurking in the Hartford corner, along with Scott Pearson. He's checked to the ice surface, and Pronger brings it out for the Whalers. He's got Glenn riding with him right to the Buffalo line, and then they'll change up while Schmelik takes it from his own corner. That's batted off by Castle. He's got it from the tip of the slot. Save. Hasek rebound. Sanderson. It went over his shoulder. And Schmelik tips it over into the other corner. Here's Craig Muni. Tried to beat Alexander Mogilny, who was just breaking over the Buffalo line. Wesley's got it into his own zone now. Clearing it in for Burt. First period, 3:24 left to play. No score. 12-7 in shots Hartford as Sanderson tips it out of the corner. Oh, thought he had it. Well, there's more pressure on here. Kessels tries to wrap scores! Just snuck it in, and the Whalers score first to take a 1-0 lead.
Now that puck was shot in from behind the net, a direct result of some good speed in the Sabres zone led by Andrew Castles. Watch this turnover that Hartford gets behind the net. This is just good, hard forechecking. Here it is right here. Castles comes to the front, bounces it in off of Dominic Hasek. There's the forechecking by the Whalers. And there goes the puck over the goal line as Hasek did not have the short side. And the Whalers score first here today. Andrew Castles.
Only his fourth goal of this season. Got 26 assists. The Castles sneaking one past the Dominator to give the Whalers a 1-0 lead.
That's using your speed, though. A good forechecking shift by Hartford. And Castles ends up scoring. Andre Nicolishin, the fine rookie of the Hartford Whalers, just 21 years old, is really starting to develop in the last 10 or 12 games for Hartford. Scored 2 goals against Buffalo a couple of nights ago. Scored 1 against Pittsburgh. A very smart player. Plays well when he doesn't have the puck, which is so important in the NHL.
You like his moves.
Oh, he's really got some clever moves. Good hands. 5 feet 11 inch, 190 pounder.
Ted Drury digs for the corner, then loses his balance. Huddy locks things up momentarily, then does some pushing and shoving while Drury leaves it along the board. Low shot, wide of the Buffalo net. Rebound to the near side. Nicolishin coming up with that puck. Huda hanging on to the Whalers scorer of late. Leading this game 1-0. Doug Huda up the left wing to Huddy. Flips it right to the Hartford line. After it is Frank Kuchera.
You know, I think the Sabres certainly have had a handful of good scoring chances, but overall they've been outworked in this period by Hartford, and that's something you never like to see if you're a coach.
Bodger brings it right back for Buffalo over the Hartford line. Slap shot off the stick of Audette. Didn't get all the mustard on that one. Here's Yuri Himova lurking around. He tries the backhand, floats in front. Cleared by Kuchera. Up to the Hartford line. Lemieux starts it up now. Ranheim shoots it in. Galley gets it right back out. Paul Holmgren's through, going for a shift change.
There's an interference penalty coming up to Galley as he attempted to pick off the forechecker. That's a good call. And the Hartford Whalers will try for the first time on the power play. You know, I've talked about this before. Gary Galley goes way out of his way to cut off the forechecker. He disagrees, but I thought it was a pretty good call by the referee. Now here comes the play into the zone. Now Galley came from way across from the other side of the ice, and he goes 2 minutes for interference.
So that puts Buffalo's penalty killers out on the ice surface for the first time this afternoon. A situation where the Sabres are ranked 7th overall, but get this, since their disaster on March 19th, the 6-1 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Sabres have only allowed 4 power play goals by their opponents in some 37 opportunities. That's a mark of 8 games. There they begin to huddle and figure out what they're going to do on this shift.
And it's Dave Hannon, of course, and Presley up front, Schmelik and Craig Muni. Boy, didn't Craig Muni play a great game against Boston the other night? I thought he was maybe the best, next to Hasek, the best player on the ice.
He was exceptional blocking shots, as well as one of his other defense partners, Charlie Huddy. From the draw, the Sabres win it. Schmelik gets a check. Presley attempts to clear, finds Hannon, who backhands it through center and down into the Hartford zone. First period action, 1:17 remaining. Whalers leading it 1-0. An even strength goal scored by Andrew Castles on their first power play as Wesley brings them out to center. Here's Sanderson getting it across the Buffalo line. Sanderson with 4 power play goals. Tipped by Castles, and it's scissored between Hasek's pads.
Now the Dominic Hasek gambling, and Castles almost had his second goal of the afternoon. This puck comes to the front of the net. Castles, I think both Castles and Hasek may have got a stick on this, and the puck is deflected up into the body of Dominic Hasek. And Andrew Castles had a great first period here with 1 goal and another excellent scoring chance.
Face off to the right side of the Buffalo net. Darren Turcotte, who was not on this shift, is the other power play expert for the Whalers with 3 power play goals. Buffalo's penalty killers doing a good job. 47 seconds left in the first period. Bouncing puck, Dave Hannon with Presley. Look for the 12th shorthanded goal of the season. Denied by that attempt as Sanderson comes over the Buffalo line. Wrist shot blocked by Schmelik. Rebound, Wesley does some nice deacon. Now over to Burke with a shot. Save, Hasek. Rebound cleared out by Buffalo. 25 seconds left here in the first period. Whalers leading it 1-0. Andrew Castles with the goal. Nicolishin's play. Intercepted by Bob Sweeney. Yuri Himmelov comes in with the wrist shot. Burke kicking it right over to Nicolishin. 10 seconds left to play here in the first period as Wesley brings it over the Buffalo line. Here's Darren Turcotte. With close coverage by Bodger, and Himmelov will send it into the Whalers zone, and Hartford will go to their dressing room with a 1-0 lead. And a margin in shots 16-9. Great first intermission coming up here from Hartford. Jim Lorenz will be talking with the Sabres head coach and general manager, Sean Muckler. The 2-minute power play back in our studios in Buffalo with Mike Robitaille, and we'll have highlights of the first period this afternoon from Hartford. Hope you're enjoying your day.
Since the beginning, you could always depend on your neighborhood for whatever you needed for your family vacation.
As our broadcast clothing is provided by Harry Rosen Menswear, Walden Galleria.
A pretty good first period for the goaltenders. We mentioned Hasek. Sean Burke also excellent. In the penalty box is Gary Galley.
30 seconds remaining in the penalty to a smiling Gary Galley. Was taken by surprise that he was traded yesterday by Philadelphia to Buffalo. We talked to him this morning and said that he had heard that Bob Clark, the general manager, wasn't going to make any trades, so they all kind of relaxed. And he got home yesterday afternoon and found out that he was on his way to Buffalo.
Well, he took it in stride. He's a veteran player. You just never know in this game. You have to be prepared. And he was happy to be here. He said, boy, this is a good team. He said, and I'm fortunate.
Top of the slot come the Whalers, working on the power play. Slow move behind the Buffalo net. This is Kevin Smith. Number 14, Jeff Sanderson. The slap of the stick indicates the firing power play for the Whalers as Galley comes right back into the swing of things. They score! Well, maybe one way to beat Dominic Hasek is to bank it off, and a trio of Whalers were there to try it.
This is another solid play, though, by Hartford. In front of the net is Kevin Smith, and he redirects this pass from just in front of the goal crease on Hasek. Now, the Sabres come back to full strength on this play. Watch in front of the net as Smith is left alone. Schmelik fell down, and the Hartford Whalers have a 2-0 lead. Really a nice setup from the corner. This is Castles who gets a ton of assists, and Smith tips it by Hasek. 2-0 Hartford. And the Sabres better get on their horse and start riding here.
Wow, just his 4th game, Kevin Smith collects his 4th point. It's a 2-point afternoon so far for the youngster, Kevin Smith. scoring his second goal of this season. Alexander Mogilny tipping the puck up along the board, forced by the Whalers back in. Here's Turcotte out in front. It was set up for Nikolishyn. He allows Lynn to get right in front along with Ted Drury, but Dominic Hasek denies. Ted Drury and a host of other Whalers have been lurking around the Buffalo net.
And the Hartford Whalers continue their great play here in the second period. Just a minute and 7 seconds have expired. They've scored once, and Hasek called upon to make another great save just moments ago. The Sabres just not ready for this hockey game. The faceoff coming up to the left of the Buffalo net. Derek Plant's on the ice at center. He has Donald Adet and Yuri Himalev. This is a pretty good line for Buffalo in the opening period.
From the draw, won by Hartford. Here's Chris Pronger. Slip shot left side of Dominic Hasek, who got himself back into position after it hit his skate blade. Here's Bodger from his own corner up to Himalev. Nice lead pass to Donald Adet, but it's poked by Pronger. Nikolishyn has got it right back to the Buffalo line. Swatted off the stick of Bodger, and Adet clears it in, but we have a stoppage in play.
I think it hit somebody at the Hartford bench. And the face-off coming up in the neutral zone with 18 minutes, 30 seconds to go.
Oh, Andrew Castles, we understand, now credited with the goal that was we thought was Kevin Smith.
Now Dave Hannon is being escorted to the dressing room by Jim Piscitelli to be favoring his leg or his ankle. In case you've just joined us, Pat LaFontaine is not playing here this afternoon. He will not play back-to-back games. Of course, that means he will play tomorrow against Boston.
Back at the odd 3 o'clock face-off time as Pronger. Check that Trucera gets it out over the line as Castles. He goes with a backhand glove save. Hasek. Whalers are skating at will in the Sabres zone here in this early part of the second period.
Andrew Castles, an excellent player, very good playmaker, hasn't scored goals, but he gets credited for 2 here this afternoon, his 5th goal of the season. And Castles is an excellent skater, great playmaker. And here he comes again on Buffalo. They have just not been able to control Castles here so far this afternoon. Hasek holds on for the faceoff. Last year, Castles had 60 assists for Hartford.
Bouncing shot, forcing Hasek to play it over to Bob Sweeney. 18-9 in shots favoring the Whalers. Have a 2-0 lead, and a penalty coming up as Scott Pearson is driven to the ice surface, and we'll find out what the call might be from referee Don Van Massenhoven. Interference.
Interference call on Kuchera as he knocked down Pearson. So now a critical point of this hockey game for Buffalo, as they have been badly outplayed, outshot 18-9. Now they have a chance to get back in the game. And in this type of a situation, you cannot allow a club to go up on you by 3-0. Here's the interference call in the Buffalo power play. So Howardchuk steps onto the ice along with Mogilny and Adet, Bodger and Galley on the points. Coming into today's game, the Sabres power play in recent games has started to come to life. And of course, one of the reasons for that is Howardchuk on the point.
Sabres went 1 for 3 against the Bruins on Thursday night. And they'll get an opportunity with a face-off left side of Sean Burke, who was only tested with 8 shots in the first period.
Of course, without LaFontaine, Sabres change up their power play somewhat. They like to have LaFontaine handle the puck around the face-off circle.
You just sense more confidence when Howardchuk is back at the point. Galley fires one in, and it's blocked by Burke.
But I'm sure when LaFontaine is in the lineup, you'll see Howardchuk back there again at the point. But in this case, with LaFontaine absent, it's Galley and Bodger teaming up.
Well, the Sabres certainly moved the puck well enough to get the quality shots. It's just the timing right now. Getting closer and closer. Speaking of timing, over the line. A shot by Mark Jansen forces Dominic Hasek to play it and to cover it, and then the extra swat by Jansen. Here's the end result. With a scrum just to the side of the Buffalo net. The Hartford almost had a shorthanded goal. Jansen being at 6'4", 220 pounds. A lot of muscle there.
Well, Dominic Hasek handles this high shot. Watch Hasek sort of shrug his upper body as they, not sure where the puck is. Well, the puck went up in the air. That's what happened. And then he fell on it for the faceoff, and Jansen's continued to go to the front of the net. And Hasek is worried. See how he ducked down low like that? He was worried that the puck was going to hit him in the back and then go into the net. And that's why he got low. He figured, well, if it hits me in the back, it'll go forwards if I bend over instead of backwards into the net.
You just never know with Dominic Hasek. Second period action, 2-0 Hartford. Ranheim tipping the puck into the Buffalo corner. 1:23 left in the penalty to Frank Kuchera. Sabres bring it out. Bodger, nice pass up to Galley. He got it wrapped up into his skates. Wesley poking it. First clearing it. Wesley trying it again. Stopped by Galley. Leaves it in front. Here's Mogilny. Trying to go to the glove side of Burke. Howard Chuck checking along with Donald Audette as Mogilny is shoved into the Hartford net. Slow in getting up. Puts himself back into position. Whalers have the puck and Ranheim will clear. Hasek out for a stroll. Leaves it for Bodger. 50 seconds left in the penalty to Hartford. Whalers leading this game 2-0. 2 goals by Andrew Castle. Quinn chops at it. Turcotte tries to sweep it across the Buffalo line. Forces Bodger back down deep again. Mogilny, Plant, along with Audette up front. Here's Bodger through center. Takes a ride along the boards into the Hartford zone. Pronger pokes it, but Mogilny's got it. Backhand over to Donald Audette. Tried to feed Galley. He'll take it from the boards. 17 seconds left in the penalty to Hartford. Inching is Schmeling. High along the boards. Mogilny shoveling move over to Audette. Galley stopping it to the near side. Hartford continuing to hack away at that puck, and Nick Elishan clearing it. Whalers back to full strength, leading this game 2-0. Out shooting Buffalo 20-12, and here's Richard Schmeling of the Whalers line. Schmeling losing his balance and taking a ride into the boards. Himmeldev double teamed off the puck. Jason Dawes in to help. Jocelyn Lemieux just clears it outside the center. Ranheim passes it along to Jimmy Carson. 2-on-1 break for the Whalers. Good defensive play. Rebound, score. The Sabres are getting sucked 3-0.
Now we're going to see a goaltending change. Rob Stauber is going to come into play. Goal for Buffalo. A 2-on-1 break. Richard Schmeling got caught at the Hartford blue line, and Jimmy Carson ends up with his own rebound as Hasek gets a piece of the puck, but it travels in across the goal line, and the Hartford Whalers have gone up by 3-0, and Hasek has gone to the bench. Rob Stauber goes into the nets for Buffalo. Hasek with that trapper glove almost got that puck before it crossed the line.
It's not a happy afternoon for Dominic Hasek here in Hartford. Stauber moves between the pipes for Buffalo with a 4.05 goals against average, a 1-3-0 record. And the first time Stauber has played since the 21st of March when the Sabres lost 3-2 to the Pittsburgh Penguins. John Muckler making the goaltending change here in the second period as Himmeldev shoots it in. Dawes will plant. Oh, after that puck, Himmeldev to the doorstep of Burke. Sweeps it over to Adam Burke. Jocelyn Lemieux has been hampered with a rotator cuff injury. Bring it over to Wesley, and they finally get it out. Himmeldev forced back into his own zone. He just went away from the television set. Dominic Hasek replaced after the Whalers scored their third goal of the afternoon. Stauber in as Burke leaves it on the glass and out to center. Right, a stick handler is Sean Burke. You'll see some excellent stick handling from Rob Stauber as well. One of Stauber's strengths is stick handling. A unique trait by a goaltender. Rob Ray pulling a shift out for Buffalo. At center is Wayne Presley. Over the line is Bob Sweeney. He overskates the puck, and the Whalers come right back over the Buffalo line. Here's Kevin Smith. Over to Kistles with a shot. Sanderson didn't make the connection, just to the left side and stopped. Charlie Huddy bringing it back for Buffalo. Down by a score of 3-0. Gray from the corner, kicks it along, picked off by Presley. He's batted to the back of the helmet by Burke, and now Burke tries him again. Brad McCrimmon takes him down. Rob Ray tries to provide some help as well. Nothing happens as tempers are starting to serve for the Sabres. Ray trying to light things up. Sucker punch on Frank Lucera. Then there's another sucker punch somewhere that came out to the side of your screen.
That all began with Wayne Presley and the goaltender Sean Burke, as Presley found himself in the goal crease area. Sean Burke punched him in the back of the head. The Hartford defenseman took Presley down to the ice, and they're still talking in front. Watch out here. Presley now.
Don Van Massenhoven is trying to cool things down, holding off Presley, and the linesmen might be able to do it, successful as they are. We'll be back.
Goal crease area, number 18 of the Sabres, Presley, who came around from behind the net, backs into Sean Burke, takes a punch in the head, backs into him again, and then Brad McCrimmon flattens Presley in front of the net. Presley is in the box for goaltender interference. Ray, 2 minutes for roughing, and 2 Hartford players in the box, so coincidental penalties.
Too close for comfort for Wayne Presley on the porch of Sean Burke.
Well, 13:43 to go here in the second period. The Hartford Whalers with a 3-0 lead. Sean Burke has been pretty good in nets. Pretty good. I guess he's been perfect so far. 14 shots on goal. His last start, he won 8-4 against Pittsburgh, and Rob Stauber replacing Dominic Hasek after the third goal by Hartford. That by Jimmy Carson.
The Whalers mark after taking a 3-goal lead, unbeaten. They've got it this afternoon on 21 shots to Buffalo's 14. And 5 skaters aside. Here's Bodger and Mogilny combining together. Daw with a quick look into the corner. Gets a hit from Castle. Puck cleared by Glynn as it bounces just over the Hartford line. Bodger sends it right back. Not much doing for Buffalo on offense this afternoon.
Well, they've been outworked. That's the story of this hockey game. Hartford Whalers have just been better than the Sabres. They've worked harder. They've outskated Buffalo.
Gilney over the line, top of the slot, nifty stick handling glove by Burke, and he'll hang on to that one with Howard, Chuck, and Daw hovering around the Hartford net.
Remember, Whalers fans, 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4...
Hey. Then playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, they've got a 2-1 lead. And Hartford knocking on the front door. Nicolation couldn't get a piece of it. There's a shot blocked in front of Lemieux, and Plant brings it out to center. Himmelov couldn't hang on to it. Hughes forces Buffalo back into their own zone. Down by a score of 3-0. In Buffalo, this is just a point lead on the Boston Bruins. Coming into this afternoon's game. We'll keep you updated on that game in Boston. Mike Robitaille will do the same between periods and at the end of the game. Here from Hartford, Huda gets a hit from Burke while changing. Wesley, puck is cleared. Good hit by Pearson for Buffalo. Bounces the puck out to center. Schmelik backhanding it in. Wesley is right there, leads the Whalers over the Buffalo line, and then will change up on the fly. Jimmy Carson skates out with Paul Ranheim, Kelly Chase, and Matthew Barnaby high-sticked in the face. He was hit hard on Thursday night as well. Glenn Murray getting a 5-minute major, and Jim Pizzatelli to the aid of Matthew Barnaby.
As the referee checks, and Jim Carson attempted to lift the stick of Matthew Barnaby and struck Barnaby in the face.
Hartford penalty number 33.
And it's a 2-minute penalty, 2-minute high sticking penalty to Carson. And the Sabres now with the chance to get on the board here by trailing 3-0 as the Hartford Whalers have dominated Buffalo. Castles with a couple of goals here today, and Jim Carson with the other score for Hartford.
It's an unfamiliar position for Jimmy Carson to be in. He doesn't spend too much time in the penalty box. Paul Holmgren takes a look at things from behind the Hartford bench.
Nice to see one of those old-fashioned haircuts, isn't it?
You like those, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Dave Reed got one the other day in Boston.
Yeah.
You like it.
I might get one myself.
I could see you with one. Yeah, I could see you with it. Then you could wear a pit helmet or something like that as well.
I see you with one too.
Well, I haven't got much left, so I'm going to try to save it in the corner. Advancement called by Van Massenhoven against the Sabres. Stops things here in the second period. 11:23 remaining. 3-0 Hartford.
Get in this position. You're down 3-0. It's so close in the standings. You've got to get desperate. You must feel that desperation that you have to score to get back in the game. There's still 11:23 to go here in the second period, so there's plenty of time on the clock. A 3-0 lead is something that can be overcome with this much time remaining, but you've got to get desperate.
Howard-Chuck leads the forces in, but Hartford puts the Sabres right back out at center. Bodger flips it off the shoulder of Howard-Chuck. Here's Mogilny hovering around left side of the Hartford net. Back over to Gary Galley, who finds Doug Bodger. Working on the power play. Shot blocked by Ranheim. Mogilny gets the rebound and then checked down the ice by Glenn. Audette comes up with the puck. Now Galley looking for a shot, finds Mogilny. Galley from the slot area over to Bodger, pinching into the play and down into the Whalers' corner. Sabres are looking for their first goal of the afternoon. Working on the power play. Bodger just snuck right in, but the shot went wide. From the rebound, Audette back to Bodger. Here's Mogilny. Backhanding it over to Audette, to Bodger. Now to Audette. Looking for Howard-Chuck with the shot. And Burke. And it's shot back by Castles. And will stop the Buffalo surge here in the second period on the power play. For all the scores and highlights from the world of sports, stay tuned for Press Box tonight at 10 o'clock right here on the Empire Sports Network.
Pretty good power play so far here for Buffalo. 47 seconds remaining in the Sabre power play. Donald Audette had a good chance that Burke made a pad save, and Castles did a smart thing as he picked the rebound up. He wasn't in a good position to clear the puck down the ice, so he simply tapped it back to his goalie, and as a result we have a face-off coming up to the right of the Hartford net.
I like the comment you made about the Sabres must play desperate hockey right now. They've got a good marker out there, and Dale Howard-Chuck is trying to get his team into a scoring position. One player who can play desperate hockey, that's Dale Howard-Chuck.
You have to realize, of course, you're not going to score 3 goals at once, but you must get that first one to get that momentum going your way.
17 seconds left in the power play, and the Sabres are forced back out at center. Howard-Chuck, Audette, and Mogilny await at the line as Bodger shoots it in. From the boards, chopped by Wesley, stopped by Galley. His wrist shot up a couple of sticks. Nicolation clears to the Whalers, who will kill off yet another penalty as Carson skates from the penalty box and right into action. Whalers leading it 3-0 off 22 shots to Buffalo's 15. Started working from the opening faceoff and haven't let up. Lemieux over the line from the top of the slot, leaving it into the corner for Carson. Bats it off the shoulder of Galley. Plant along the boards now to Jason Daw. Dominic Hasek pulled after the Whalers' third goal. Rob Stauber in the nets for Buffalo. Plant taking a look. Top of the slot is Himmelev. His shot off the shovel of the stick. Went wide. Huddy trying to clear. Backed up by Doug Huda. Here's Plant. Over the line to Jason Daw. with Scott Pearson, but he was well ahead of the play, so the Sabres are caught for offside. They'll look to regroup here at this timeout from Hartford.
Where can you get great entertainment items the whole family will enjoy? At Media Play, of course.
Hey, check this out.
We have more music, books, movies, and software at the lowest prices every day.
Great price.
At Media Play, we have over 60,000 CDs and cassettes. And at Media Play, we have over 15,000 movies.
Can we come back tomorrow?
Media Play, more choice, less price, guaranteed.
We took the most comfortable full-size pickup on the road and made it more comfortable. We took the most thoughtful interior on the market and made it more thoughtful. We took the biggest cab in the industry and made it bigger. The new Dodge Ram Club Cab. First we changed the rules, then we stretched them. At America's Truck Stop, the new Dodge.
Attendance is up 1,200 here in Hartford. Reason being because of the strong play this year of the Hartford Whalers and the commitment in the new ownership. Peter Carmanos of the CompuWare system, Jim Rutherford, the new general manager, bringing some players in here. And the friendliness of this team obviously has given the fans that much more of an involvement and being enthused.
Rob Stauber had quite a start to his NHL career, didn't he? Well, with the Los Angeles Kings, he was undefeated in his first 10.
There I am.
That man's well protected.
Yeah, that's old Gertz just sitting in the stands having a good time.
Enjoying the game.
Yeah, sure.
Bob Sweeney goes to center here with Presley and Pearson. Dave Hannon left the game earlier in this period, still awaiting a report on his status. Appeared to have injured his leg or his ankle.
Maybe that guy's got Hannon's equipment. He's through for the day. I don't know how he got the glove and the helmet. He's well protected, though, might I add, that fan. He's got all the equipment you need to be a good, solid hockey fan for the afternoon. I wonder if he could find his way home after the game, but...
Wonder if he could do with a pair of safety glasses there or something.
Buddy gets it through center. Sweeney over the line. Here's Scott Pearson, but Glenn chopped it away. Igor Chibarev scored his first hat trick Wednesday night against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pretty amazing shot percentage by the youngster. 5 shots, 3 goals. That's 60% from the surface.
Doug Huda has played very strong for Buffalo this year on the defense position from Los Angeles back in July for Sean O'Donnell, his 7th season in the NHL. Also played for the Detroit Red Wings and right here for the Hartford Whalers. You just saw a moment ago the Rob Stauber coming out of the net to play the puck or attempt to play the puck up around the glass. It struck the glass and went into the crowd, but the point is he likes to come out of the net, handle the puck, shoot it up to the forwards. You see him do that often.
From the draw, controlled by Buffalo. Muni backhands it over to Mogilny. Starts the play with Barnaby. Up to the Buffalo line and out at center is Jason Daw. He's triple teamed off that puck. Goes back over it to the near side. Castle running Frank Kuchera back through center. Whalers leading it 3-0 here in the second period. 7:45 remaining. Stauber finds Barnaby. Trucker styles that puck with the blade of his skate, but to no avail. The Whalers come back with it. Poked by Muni. Starts it up for Buffalo with Daw. Mogilny awaits it left over the line. Good puck pursuit by the Whalers, forcing Buffalo back out. Andrew Castles with a couple of goals this afternoon to lead the Whalers. Mogilny looking to get the Buffalo Sabres up on the board. Can't do it. Himmelman is pulled down, and another penalty coming up against the Whalers. A hooking call. And
well, Brad
get
McCrimmon,
another chance for Buffalo.
Brad McCrimmon goes right to the box, but he just happened to be in the way of Himmelev as Himmelev attempted to pull the puck around him. And McCrimmon is penalized. Watch the play inside the line here as Himmelev picks up the puck. And McCrimmon gets a stick between the legs of Himmelev, and there's no place for Himmelev to go except down to the ice. And to the penalty box goes the veteran Brad McCrimmon. Played 14 seasons in the NHL with the Bruins, the Flyers, Calgary, and Detroit. So Buffalo now with another chance. to get back in this game, or at least get on the board, trailing 3-0 with 7:16 to go here in the second period.
And McCrimmon, here with the Whalers the last couple of years, has been the private tutor of Chris Pronger, getting adjusted into the NHL style of play.
Well, Dale
He's done a great job.
Dale Howardchuk now has gone to the right point position, and the plant Adet McGillney up front.
Darren Turcotte trying to clear it from the near side. Galley plays the left point, tips it right back. Wesley's got it, found an opening and cleared. Second period action, 7 minutes remaining. Whalers leading it 3-0. Galley brings the power play unit right to the Hartford line. Turcotte sends him back. Bounce, just not going. Play by Buffalo this afternoon. Howardchuk to the line. Here's Donald Adet forced into the corner. Went over to Mogilny. Gilday with some nifty stick handling, finding Gary Galley. Low wrist shot off the pads of Wesley. Rebound from the slot area. Howardchuk down on his knees. Adet takes the shot off the side of Burt. Wesley clears it over to the far side. Nice move by Plant. He's double teamed off that puck. Howardchuk protecting the right point. Into Mogilny to the corner. Stopped by Howardchuk, top of the slot. Galley couldn't keep it in. Buffalo regroups back out at center. 47 seconds left in Buffalo's power play. Whalers leading it 3-0, and they take more time off the penalty to Brad McCrimmon. Gary Galley through center, left wing pass over to Bodger, brings the Sabres across the line. Pronger's backhand. And his second opportunity is cleared and right into the Whalers bench.
27 seconds remaining in McCrimmon's penalty. No, I said the last game in Boston that Matthew Barnaby was still looking for his first NHL goal. I was wrong. Barnaby did score a goal this year, and that was against Philadelphia. So I apologize to Matthew and his family.
Speaking of
second goal of the year,
the Sabre family, we have a viewer in Sterling, Ontario, who is the mother of Rob Ray. Edith Ray's birthday. Happy birthday, Edith, in Sterling, Ontario. Many, many more years of health and happiness to Edith Ray. Here's Dodd of Barnaby, pulled down from behind. First real offensive formation for Buffalo here in the second half of the second period. Castle's looking for three. Backhand Ranheim. Broke by Schmelik. 7 seconds left in the penalty to Hartford. Dodd heading the Sabres over the Hartford line with Barnaby. That's batted. Bodger added as it bounces over to Ranheim, and he clears. The Whalers back to full strength. Schmelik all the way down into his corner. An icing call coming up against the Whalers, leading this game 3-0 with 5:05 remaining. Second period.
Richard Schmelik has certainly picked up his game in the last month or so, playing his best hockey of the year, bothered with a shoulder injury.
How about that shot that he took on Thursday night, too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hard shot by Schmelik. And when you shoot the puck like he's been shooting it, that means your shoulder's feeling better. And a goal and 7 assists for the big Buffalo defenseman.
Talked to Richard this morning to find out how his ankle felt. He was hit by a Cam Neely shoot-in in Boston, and that just went into the inside of his ankle. Richard is not one that would tell you either way, but he won't complain. He'll play hurt for you.
He's a man of few words.
Yep.
Pretty quiet.
I would imagine Rip Simonik, the Sabres trainer, probably had to take all the laces out of Schmelik's skate. Just the kind of guy he is, and then they'll just lace it right up. 4:40 left here in the second period. 3-0 Hartford. Puck is cleared back out at center. Kuchera sends it right back in.
Well, since the Sabres have changed goaltenders, the Sabre club's starting to play much better.
Shot by Honey. Bounces in front by Burke. Almost went between his pads. This line trying to stir the pot. Honey from the left point. Jansen. And for a moment, Burke will stop this surge. of Scott Pearson, along with Wayne Presley and Dale Howarchuk now. And Presley's doing some punching. And nothing happens. We'll be back as our coverage continues. Shot kicked out by the pads of Burke. Rebound Buffalo just to the left side. Dog got a piece of that one. Muni keeping it in with a shoveling move. Mogilny heavily covered. Kevin Smith clearing it back out to Jeff Sanderson. Here's Adam Burt. Took 4 shots against Buffalo on Tuesday night. Burt did. Smith and Dog get tangled up. Here's Muni coming up to the line. Howarchuk, Mogilny, and Dodd. Sanderson.
Now, penalty coming up here as Craig Muni is going to go 2 minutes for tripping. No question about that. That would have been a 2-on-1 break for Hartford. And Craig Muni made sure that that didn't happen, but we'll go to the box. And with 3:30 to go here in the second, the Whalers will try on the power play. They have a 3-0 lead, 2 goals by Andrew Castles, and Jim Carson has the other Hartford goal. Here's the play just outside the blue line as the Whalers attempt to break away, and on the right of the screen in the upper part, the trip as Muni upsets Smith. And the Sabres now looking for a shorthanded goal, and they send Bob Sweeney and Himmeldev up front.
Again, as Jim mentioned earlier in the second period, Dave Hannon has gone to the Sabres dressing room. We have no report, but he is not back on the Sabres bench. And Hannon's play, especially on the penalty killing unit, one of the reasons why they lead the National Hockey League with 11 shorthanded goals. Unavailable for service here in period number 2, especially when they're on the penalty killing situation.
Jim Carson from Southfield, Michigan, signed for Hartford as a free agent. 2 times he scored 100 or more points in the NHL and had years of 55 and 49 goals. Many of his season's best years were with the Los Angeles Kings.
CompuWare company owns this Hartford Whalers hockey club. Jimmy Carson was a product of the CompuWare junior hockey system. Ever so popular in Detroit as the puck bounces out, and an icing call against the Whalers.
His dad also changed his ancestral name from, I'll try to pronounce this, Kairazopoulos to Carson.
Come on.
Yes.
Very interesting.
I would say Carson's a little easier to pronounce. Chris Pronger had an awful game against the Buffalo Sabres when the Sabres met at the auditorium, and talking to the Hartford people, said Pronger came back with one of his best games against Pittsburgh, and he is a talented player who's had trouble getting on track this year.
Having a tough sophomore season. He certainly has the size. Carries the frame of a new era in NHL defenseman. The prerequisite now is about 6'3" and 220 pounds. Burt from the corner, Andrew Castles tipping it over to Glenn Wesley. Going through some tough times right now with his father being sick.
His father diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease.
There's a short-handed situation for Buffalo. Plant sets it up. Wesley just goes to the left side. Rebound. Plant tries to stuff it in, but Sean Burt robbed him.
Nice, Sean Burke. Nice play as Derek Plant ended up with a puck in a bad angle. And watch on the replay. Watch the left trapper of the goaltender. Here's the initial save as Plant takes the hard shot. Missed the net. Watch the left glove of the goaltender as Plant attempts to bring it to the front and then shoot it in the open corner, but cannot do it. And who is but Presley is again on top of the goaltender. And a faceoff coming up to the left of the Hartford net. Sabres down by 3-0. They are playing shorthanded here. 52 seconds and Muni's penalty remaining.
Sabres had 8 shots in the first period. And now they have 12 here in the second period, but down by a score of 3-0. Presley is so calm and cool, especially on the penalty killing unit. And just witnessed that play that he set up, rotted in, stopped, and by getting it back to Plant.
He's one of the best in the league, along with Dave Hannon, of course. Sabres with 11 shorthanded goals, and they would dearly love to score another one here.
Here's Himmelev with an opportunity. Sweeney becomes a part of the play. Himmelev gets it back to Huddy. Elects to take some more time off the penalty now to Craig Muni.
Now there's a
15
play.
seconds left.
Yuri Himmelev's got to go to the net with that, though. He had Sweeney going to the front. You must try to score a shorthanded goal. You must take some chances to try to get yourself back in the game.
Chara with the shoot in. Lemieux couldn't handle it. Here's Gary Galley in the closing seconds of the Whalers' power play. And Muni skates from the penalty box right over to the Sabres bench. John Muckler's through. Goes for a shift change. Dale Howard-Chuck skates out with Jason Daw and Alexander Mogilny. Here's Howard-Chuck. Hovering around the Hartford zone. That went off the stick. Bounces into the corner. Cleared high and out to center. Chris Pronger brings it over the Buffalo line. He's got Castles with him off the side of Rob Stauber. And the puck is cleared by Mogilny. 52 seconds left here in the second period. 3-0 Whalers. A two-line pass violation will stop things.
That was a good save by Rob Stauber, but the Sabres needing to take some chances at the line. Huda attempted to pinch in and got caught.
Coming up in our second intermission, the Chemical Bank presents Silver Memories. Randy Wyrozup is our special guest this afternoon. 2-minute power play back in our studios with Mike Robitaille, and we'll have second period highlights of this game that's being dominated by Hartford 3-0. Dale Howard-Chuck with a lot of ice time. Again, trying to lead the forces. Jim mentioned about Sabres must play desperate hockey now. Again, in a sticky situation, especially in the Eastern Conference playoff race. 38 points, 1 point ahead of the Boston Bruins. Playing the Tampa Bay Lightning this afternoon. Mike will have an update of those scores for you. Bouncing puck to the left side of the Buffalo net. It comes off the mooring. Time remaining in the lower right-hand portion of your screen for this second period. And Rob Stauber holding off a Hartford surge.
One of the things that Hartford have done well here this afternoon is go to the front. That time the net was knocked off the magnets. And a faceoff coming up to the left of the goaltender with 28.6 seconds to go. Watch Hartford go to the front here as they come in across the line. And they have two players attempting to go to the front and a faceoff coming up. Andrew Castles with 2 goals. Jim Carson with the other one. Rob Stauber replacing Dominik Hasek after Carson put Hartford ahead by 3-0 earlier in the second period. This is a play, too. A faceoff like this, you might want to try to set up a play if you're the Sabres to try to get a breakaway, fire the puck far off the far boards, anything to try to turn the tide of this game.
Raw Hartford, Bird at the line with their copper offside. Just snuck over the line, so they're forced to do it outside the Buffalo zone.
A veteran, Adam Bird from Detroit, into his 7th season in the NHL. His dad, Harry, worked at the Detroit Olympia during the glory years of the Detroit Red Wings when Howe and Lindsay were in their heyday. And Adam skated there when he was a youngster at the Olympia.
It's safe to say that he was indeed a rink rat.
Yes, he was a rink rat. Genuine rink rat.
Here's Glenn Wesley. Forced to play it to the near side. Rails it off the back of Lemieux. Checked by Himmelev. Schmelik got it over to Presley. Listen to the fans in the background. They're yelling, boring. And Himmelev's topped the second period with a hit by Jocelyn Lemieux. That will strike some tempers up here. And the linesman very quick to get over in between the opposing players. Nothing happens as Don Van Nassenhoven directs them to their respective dressing rooms. Rob Stauber has taken over for Dominik Hasek this afternoon. Brings his forces back to their dressing room, down by a score of 3-0, being outshot 25-21. Our coverage of Sabres hockey continues from Hartford on the Empire Sports Network.
At $5, the proceeds go to Children's Hospital The alumni playing the secret service.
Don't tell anybody. You think they'll all be wearing their sunglasses tonight?
Oh, yes.
While playing?
Yep.
Face-off down in the Buffalo corner. Period underway here, and the Sabres looking to break that bagel off the scoreboard. And an icing call against the Sabres, who traveled yesterday by bus from Hartford and set up camp here for the afternoon. And a great story, while riding on the bus, the players were playing cards in the back of the bus. Somebody had a cellular phone and called Jeff Holbrook's cellular phone. Jeff Holbrook is the director of public relations. And Dave Hannon disguised his voice, wanted to speak with John Muckler, who wasn't there, but he went ahead and talked with Don Lever. And Hannon disguised his voice as another general manager in the NHL, trying to pull things off. And he pulled it off perfectly. And he said, now, I want to make sure that the guys are doing okay on that bus. Is there a card game going on? Lever turned around and said, well, sure, there's a card game going on. And then Hannon stood up, and he was the general manager.
Well, they were having some fun with it. As soon as just before we left Boston, scheduled to leave at noon, the telephone rang. Of course, Don Lever got off the bus to take the call, and there was all kinds of speculation. You can imagine, I mean, if you're a player and you know the trading deadline is a couple hours away and a phone call comes through, and a lot of uneasy players.
The bus was just silent. Not a word. Not a word. Sabres working on the power play. The call of an interference mark on Jeff Sanderson. Another attempt for Buffalo to get on the scoreboard this afternoon. Derek Glenn tipping the puck back. Gary Galley to Dale Howard-Chuck with a shot picked up by Burke. And the puck cleared by Paul Ranheim.
There's an example, a good piece of goaltending as Burke kicked the puck purposely in front of the net, and Hartford ended up clearing it. Good play by Burke.
After the puck pinballed its way, Nikolishkin takes a shot on the glove side of Rob Stauber, who replaced Dominik Hasek at the 4:32 mark of the second period, following Hartford's third goal. Here's Dale Howard-Chuck, breaking out of his zone on the power play for the next 54 seconds as Howard-Chuck sends it into the corner. A fast-skating Donald Audette overskates the puck, followed up by Mogilny. Howard-Chuck's shot went well wide. Hit the full direction he wanted to. Centering pass by Audette, nobody there. Buffalo forced back into their own zone. Here's Howard-Chuck. 11 goals shy of 500 as Galley brings it across. Mogilny rinked wide over to Audette. Brings the play down in the corner. Tried to feed Howard-Chuck, but it's picked off by Castle. They bring it over the Buffalo line. 18 seconds left in the power play for Buffalo. Down by a score of 3-0. Sabres meet the Boston Bruins tomorrow afternoon at the odd 3 o'clock face-off time. Top of the slot is Stolik, tipped in front. That didn't go by the way of the Sabres. And the Whalers are back to full strength. Here's Bodger chopping it over the Whalers line. Sabres have to get on sides. This is towards the Whalers to get it out to center. Stolik scoots back into his own zone.
They're a team that's 25th overall in penalty killing. The Whalers have done an excellent job here this afternoon, not giving up much at all. This will be icing against the Sabres. The 17:15 remaining here in regulation time.
Here's today's trivia quiz, brought to you by Bagel Brothers Bakery and Deli. Breakfast, lunch, or any time, Bagel Brothers is the place. Jim?
Now the record for most shorthanded goals in a season, I could give that a pretty good stab, I think.
We'll have the answer for you.
Craig Ramsey or Don Luce, perhaps. Or was it Wayne Presley last year with 5?
All right. We'll have the answer for you in just a couple of moments. From the faceoff, Muni setting up the play. Well, the Sabres attempt to get it out to center. Here's Bodger bringing it up and over the Whalers line. We're looking down on the Sabres bench right now to find if Dave Hannon has returned, and he has not. And we just got a note that he is out for the game.
He was suffering from a sore groin, apparently. So Hammond with a groin injury will not come back.
Himmeldev with a slap shot straight on Burke. It bounces in front. Plant tried to jam it across the line. Couldn't do it. That's cleared out by the Whalers. Close call in effect for Hartford, leading this game 3-0. Early going of period number 3. Our coverage continues right after this. Let's go back to the answer for the Bagel Brothers Bakery and Deli Trivia Quiz.
Yeah, Don Luce with 8 shorthanded goals back in that great year, 74-75. Buffalo Sabres went to the finals of the Stanley Cup that year, only to be defeated by Philadelphia, their one and only visit to the finals.
Sabres looking for some offense this afternoon, whether it be an even strength power play or shorthanded. They haven't had much of a chance to get anything going. Kelly Chase. Over to Putty, who gets it back out to center. Glenn teamed up with Pronger. And the Whalers right back into the Sabres zone. Chase backhands it behind the net. Putty tries the far side. Scott Pearson wearing 29 for Buffalo. Presley to Sweeney over the line. Here's Sweeney. Shot, save, rebound. Presley. That's cleared by the Whalers. Howard Chuck rips it right back in for Buffalo.
Well, how about those saves by Sean Burke? He has just been so sharp here this afternoon, making the initial save and then robbing Presley on the rebound.
Howard Chuck out at center, flipping it across the Whalers line. Frank Kuchera trying to clear it out. Galley keeps it in for Buffalo. Kuchera's got it again. Leads the forces out at center. Over the line is Kevin Smith with Andrew Castle. Good defensive play by Galley. Alexander Mogilny striding out of his own zone through center. He's got Daw over the line along with Howard Chuck following in. That goes across the top of the Hartford crease. Castles gets it right back out. Galley flipping it over to Richard Schmelik. Sends it down into the Whalers' corner. Here's Jeff Sanderson. Assisting on Andrew Castle's second goal this afternoon. Galley right back up to Mogilny. And if there's any magic with Mogilny here. Top of the slot. Schmelik stopped by Smith. Schmelik again floats one wide. Burke is there from the corner to Kuchera. Sends it back into the Sabres zone. Whalers completely changing on the fly here as Barnaby teams up now over the line with Yuri Himmeldev and Donald Audette. And we'll have a stoppage in play for an offside call against Buffalo. 14-17 left to play, third period, 3-0 Hartford.
Well, Donald Audette enjoying an outstanding year for the Buffalo Sabres as he leads the team in goal scoring with 19, including 9 power play goals. And he's second overall in points with 25. Mogilny, the team leader, with 32 points. Or I beg your pardon, with 33 points. But the Hartford Whalers went ahead by 3-0. Sean Burke attempting to record another shutout here, leading 3-0. But since that third goal by Carson, the Whalers have gone into really a defensive posture.
Bonder's shot tipped behind. Barnaby looks to get it out in front. He collides with Wesley, and they have a few words together. Nothing happens, so we'll go with a face-off down to the right side. Sean Burke. That's quite a mark. There's been over a year for a shutout for Burke, who has played incredibly well this year for the Whalers. One of the reasons of the success.
Now, he was a player of the week, February the 20th, with 2 wins and a tie. And a .941 save percentage. Burke has started 14 of the last 18 games. And I'm just wondering, too, Dominik Hasek pulled after that third goal by Hartford. He's getting a little bit tired. The last couple of games, we've seen him leave some rebounds in front of the net that we haven't been used to seeing. And sometimes that signals that a goalie is indeed maybe becoming somewhat tired.
Well, he's been seeing a lot of shots of late.
He sure has.
40 shots on goal the other night.
He told me he was very, very tired after that game in Boston. He was under intense pressure in that hockey game. Now, he'll get a bit of a breather here today, but I'm sure we'll see him back in the nets tomorrow against the Bruins.
Barnaby at his own line. That's batted in off the stick of Wesley. Udi takes a look. His force is up front. Looks to go to Bodger, who brings it over the Buffalo line. Turcotte forces the Sabres to regroup again.
Now this is a Whalers version of the trap play. They're sending the one guy in and dropping 4 guys back in the neutral zone.
Donald Audette just stood up by Wesley at the Whalers line. Ted Drury over to Darren Turcotte, working with Wesley. Here's Turcotte, shot blocked, rebound, to scoop to the right side of a sprawling Rob Stauber. Wesley again. Andre Nikolic, intercepted by Huddy. Nikolic tips it over the stick of Huddy to Ted Drury, tries to break free from the hold. Pronger pinches in on the play. He's got the reach, certainly, and he's jammed against the net by Audette. Pronger then gets a big hit from Huda. Audette struggling to clear it. Got it out to center, and Glenn goes rink wide now. Here's Nikolic with a long shot off the stick of Stauber. 26-25 in shots. Hartford leading this game 3-0. Andre Castles, 2 goals this afternoon. Jimmy Carson with the other. Pearson couldn't play it. Huda. Risky play in front of his own net. Here's Paul Ranheim, unmolested from the Buffalo corner, leading it in front. It went off the stick of Huddy, and the Whalers take a 4-0 lead. Just not getting the bounce today. And a perfect example, the bounce by way of Hartford.
Well, they've worked hard, though, for the bounces today. They have outworked Buffalo and deserve to be ahead by 4-0. This is an unfortunate break for Rob Stauber as the puck will come to the front of the net. Charlie Huddy has it go off his stick. He tried to tap it right back into the corner and instead tapped it over the left shoulder of the goaltender, Rob Stauber. The Hartford Whalers have a 4-0 lead. Watch to the left of the screen as the puck comes to the front of the net, and Charlie Huddy deflects it by his goaltender. Now, we've seen some strange ones, haven't we?
Wow.
Let's see. Third deflected goal here this afternoon for Hartford.
So the Whalers behind the Sabres in the standings by 4 points, inching closer into this game with a 4-0 lead. Presley over the line with Pearson. Galley a part of the play. Here's Presley with a shot. Big save by Burke. Presley tries to get out of the corner. A host of Whalers are there. And they come cruising back out at center with a 3-on-2 setup. Leading the way is Ranheim, who one-arms it. Pearson chops it in front. Nobody there. Presley counters for Buffalo with Richard Schmelik and Scott Pearson. Here's Presley, drop pass over to Schmelik. Back off the skates. Now Presley. Frank Kuchera protecting the nets with Burke. Out through center now and over the line is Castle's drop pass. Lemieux with a shot. Glove save. Stauber, and he hangs on to that one. 11:09 left to play. Third period. 4-0 Hartford.
Jimmy Carson has been credited with the goal. His second of the day, 7th of the year. Actually, when Charlie Huddy put his stick down, Carson did it at the same time. And apparently the puck went off the stick of Carson and into the net. So 2 goals from Castles and 2 from Carson. The goal scorer here so far today.
4 goals on 27 shots at the time as Howardchuk sends it back into the Hartford zone. Burke leaving it for Adam Burke. Into the corner. Kevin Smith back to Burke. Out it away from Mogilny to the near side now to Jeff Sanderson. Howardchuk stole that one. Hips it rink wide. Evan Smith sends it to the boards, and Muni dashes back over the Whalers line, but to no avail. Here's Burke looking for an open. Sanderson has got him. Smith over the line with Sanderson. Stauber lets it go to Muni. Back out to Alexander Mogilny. Sent it across the Hartford line, and Mogilny and Dahr are finished. Audette, Himmelev, and Burnaby are out now. Here's Doug Huda. Along with Doug Bodger. Third period, 4-0 Hartford. Sabres leave immediately following this afternoon's game. En route to Buffalo to prepare for another afternoon game tomorrow against the Boston Bruins. Turcotte lost the edge of his skate. Buck over the line with Ted Drury. On the slot area is Barnaby. Brings it back out for Buffalo. Charlie Huddy now a part of the play. Over the Hartford line and into the corner. Here's Donald Audette being held by Nikolic. Good defensive play by Pronger, and the Sabres regroup out at center. Huda backhands over to Barnaby. Over the Hartford line, Jimenez stirs the pot a little bit for Buffalo. Still looking for their first go to the afternoon. On net, soft pass behind the net. Pronger keeps it going. Jocelyn Lemieux down the right wing. And Jimmy Carson and Paul Ranheim. Carson looking for the hat trick, as is Andrew Kessel. And the Whalers' Brad McCrimmon sending it back in. Whalers tied with Hartford in the Eastern Conference standings. They're improving their positioning this afternoon. Keep you posted here in this third period as well on the results of what's happening in Boston. We understand that Cam Neely is out of the game. What did you say, Jim? A
hip strain. They called it. He did not play, or is not playing in Boston.
Centering pass by Sweeney intended for Presley. Didn't get there. Sanderson brings it back out. Other games of note, especially in the Eastern Conference. Florida at the Islanders. Pens at Montreal tonight as the bouncing puck comes in front. Scott Pearson almost had a chance. Presley digs from the corner. Here's Pearson from behind. Trying to beat it out in front. That went off a pair of skates. Sweeney, with his size and strength, lost the confrontation. The Castles, and Sanderson just pokes it out. Here's a fast skating Evan Smith into the Buffalo zone. Breaks free and then hit by Pearson and tackled to the ice surface. Stauber sending it up to Galley. Here's Plant coming across the Whalers line. That's stopped by Pronger and cleared back out by Igor Chibarev. 7:33 left here in the third period. Whalers leading it by a score of 4-0. Jansen's in front to Chibarev. His shot went wide. Rebound Schmelik hit by Jansen. Plant gets it out and shoots it into the Hartford zone.
Boy, Sabres desperately trying to get something going here, but just have not been able to. That's a credit to the strong play of the Hartford Whalers, as they deserve to be leading this game 4-0.
There's a shot by Ranheim onto the shoulder of Stauber. Rebound. Finds Mogilny dabbling at center and over the Hartford line. With Jason Dawn Bodger. That went off the side of Brian Glenn. Bodger trying to beat it out in front. Pronger gets a hit from Daw. Kicks the puck right over to Mogilny, who's covered by Glenn. Managed to get the pass out in front. Ranheim clearing it. Philadelphia meets the Washington Capitals tonight as well. Washington with 39 points. Montreal with 31.
Hartford all afternoon have done an excellent checking job against Buffalo. Here again, this is a trap that Hartford attempting to set up, and they get the turnover, but deep inside their own zone.
Here's Darren Turcotte. Long shot off the glove of Stauber. 29-26 in shots. Hartford leading this game 4-0. 6:07 remaining. Matthew Barnaby comes to his own line. Both Audette and Barnaby are tripped up. Gutierrez sends it right back in. Sabres in the process of changing up here as Jimenez lost it. Audette backs up, sends it across the Whalers line. Glenn Wesley fielding that puck back to the ice. And it's cleared by the Whalers. Jocelyn Lemieux plays it along the boards. Donald Audette took it away. Forces the Whalers back in their own zone. Scott Pearson is out now for Buffalo along with Bob Sweeney. Huddy keeping it in. Here's Pearson from the corner. Trying to feed it out in front for Presley, who comes in to help now behind the Whalers net. Sweeney steps up shot. Pearson on one skate. Left it in front, and Sweeney couldn't get down in time for a rebound as Burke stops the puck goal.
What you are about to learn may excite you, because the fact is it will help increase performance. I'm talking about Gulf, 93 octane super unleaded gasoline. It's quality you won't find from every major brand. Gulf's Advent 21 formula keeps fuel injectors clean and helps your car run better than ever before. So switch for the life of your car. You know the name. Go Gulf.
Hockey were as easy as banking at Fleet, the game might look something like this. Take the Fleet Select card, for example. It works like a check.
Club will host their annual awards dinner Monday night, April 10th at Samuel's Grand Manor. It's your chance to meet your favorite players and bid on some great hockey auction items. Tickets are on sale at the Odd Box office, and all proceeds will benefit the Leukemia Society. Monday night, the Booster Club Awards Dinner.
Sean Burke just 5 minutes, 23 seconds away from his 7th career shutout and his first of the season.
Munger tipping it over to Ted Drury. Out at center is Huda right at his line, along with Charlie Huddy. Through center, Sweeney didn't get a piece of it. Icing has been waved off. Burke plays it along the boards. Good pressure by Huddy as he pinches in, but Burke covers up, protecting that 4-0 lead. Our coverage of Buffalo Sabres hockey continues this afternoon on the Empire Sports Network and Fox 29. The game, make the right decision, insist on Karuba collision.
A big collision coming up here with Yuri Himalev as he is knocked down to the ice.
Afternoon edition of the Karuba collision of the game. John Gertler and Jim Lorenz from the press box here in Hartford. 610 feet above the ice surface.
I wouldn't call it a press box. It's more like the attic.
Ryan Glenn creates the stoppage in play. Another one of the new faces of the Hartford Whalers this season.
Yes, born in Germany, 6'4", 225-pounder, originally drafted by Calgary and claimed off of waivers from Vancouver.
One thing that's impressive about Hartford this year is their size. Scoring strength is coming along with the two skaters out on the ice for Hartford now. Jeff Sanderson and Andrew Castle. They work well together. Here's Schmeling trying to get that bagel off the scoreboard under Buffalo's name. That's better than a goose egg, isn't it? You like bagel or goose egg?
Yeah, bagel's pretty good. Donut, inner tube, whatever it is, it's nothing. And Hartford with 4 goals here today. Dale Howardchuk, one of the hardest parts coming back from a groin injury, as Howardchuk is attempting to do, is your conditioning, because when you're suffering from that type of injury, you can't really extend yourself hard in practice. It's a very troubling injury for a hockey player to have, and Howardchuk has been bothered with that all year.
We'll go to the face-off left side of the Hartford net.
The Sabres' 5-game unbeaten streak going to come to an end here today.
Definitely on the line with 4:20 remaining here in the third period. Barnaby's low shot off the stick of Burke. Cleared out by the Whalers. Over the line is Paul Ranheim. Galley holding on to Ranheim. Well, Barnaby took a hit but got the puck over to Schmeling. Sabres meet the Boston Bruins tomorrow afternoon in Buffalo. And after the game, it was back out on the road at the beginning of the week, meeting the New York Rangers on Wednesday night, and then the Quebec Nordique in Quebec Friday. Himalev over the line, takes the slap shot, works with Barnaby off the side of the blocking pad of Sean Burke. 3:30 left to play here in the third. As the puck comes dribbling down into the Buffalo corner, Stauber sets it up nicely for Bodger. Here's Bob Sweeney using the boards. Drury just getting it right back. Whalers making no moves at the trade deadline date yesterday. Jim Rutherford, the general manager, pretty happy with the players that he has acquired over the time of his tenure that started last year. The only word they did hear from the NHL was that Brian Burke is doing the suspension to Glenn Featherstone, who fired that helmet onto the head of Johnny Heidinger, who was an usher in Buffalo at the Odd. Was at one time a Buffalo trainer. There's Nicolation's shot well wide. Jensen drilling it in from the right point. Presley looking to get it out of his zone. Huddy out through center. Works with Howardchuk over the line with Scott Pearson. Howardchuk nailed down to the ice surface. Stronger brings it back for Hartford. Here's Jocelyn Lemieux. Drop pass over to Carson. Lemieux in front as the Whalers try to set up the hockey give and go. McGillney comes across the line with a bullheaded Steve. Out of the slot is Pearson scores! Scott Pearson scores his first as a Buffalo Sabre. And the goose egg comes off the scoreboard here in Hartford, ruining the chance for Sean Burke's first shutout in over a year.
That was a great move, too, on a fine shot by Scott Pearson. Alexander McGillney's had a pretty good game here this afternoon for Buffalo. He makes an excellent play. That's Pearson on the left of the screen. Watch Pearson take it quickly to his backhand, and Sean Burke is just an instant too late to react to the quick move by Pearson, and he has his first goal as a Buffalo Sabre, his second goal of the season. And the Sabres finally score one, and they trail 4-1 with 2:06 to go in regulation time.
John Muckler with the line now of Dale Howard-Chuck, Alexander McGillney, and Jason Daw. Putty and Huda back on defense and immediately try to put pressure on down in the Hartford zone. 4-1 Hartford with 1:54 left to play. Here in the third period, Andrew Castles with a couple of goals this afternoon, sending it in. Jeff Sanderson, the sniper, with a shot to Castles. That went wide. Smith gets the rebound. Here's Castles to Sanderson. Save Stauber. 30-29 in shots, Hartford. Here's Jason Daw entering down the right wing. Tripped up right at the Hartford line, and with that, referee Don Van Massenhoven will issue a tripping call against the Whalers.
Well, a nice move by Jason Daw. Excellent speed coming through the neutral zone. And Smith goes to the penalty box. 2 minutes for tripping. And the Sabres with a late power play with 1:25 to go in regulation time. Watch the quick move by Jason Daw in the neutral zone as he comes across center ice, and you see the Smith got caught standing still. And this is what happens. There was no movement at all. He looked like he was standing in a field somewhere, and he upset Daw and goes to the box. Field device, of course, is what I meant.
The thought was there, I know that.
Well, the Sabres
exercising an opportunity for a timeout here as well.
Buffalo will be back in action tomorrow afternoon against the Boston Bruins. Boy, this is a huge game for the Hartford Whalers against John Muckler's Buffalo Sabres. Hartford, if they can hang on to win, will go to 35 points. That would put them just 3 back of Buffalo. The Bruins with 37 points coming into today's game. And what's the latest we have in that game? I think the Bruins were leading Tampa Bay.
Well, following our broadcast,
it's 5-1 Boston now. That will put them to 39 points and move them ahead of Buffalo into a tie with Washington and New Jersey. That's how close it is.
Mike Robitaille and Hockey Hotline will have the highlights for you of the activity at the Boston Garden. The Whalers will play the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow here at the Civic Center, and again Boston in Buffalo. 3 o'clock face-off time. Mark for the Buffalo Sabres on the power play today. 0 for 5, chance number 6 in the closing moments. Newcomer Gary Galley.
I wonder if we might see Rob Stauber head to the bench here. He was way out of the net for that face-off. And there he goes. Yes, the Sabres have pulled the goaltender.
The extra attacker is Bob Sweeney. 1:05 remaining in regulation. Sweeney. Going on with Donald Audette. Dale Howard-Chuck. Cleared back out by the Whalers. Galley is the safety valve at his own line. Forced deeper in. Bodger tips the puck up to Sweeney, who backhands it in. Bumps in front by Burke, and he'll hang on to that one with 46.5 seconds remaining here in regulation. 4-1 Hartford.
That's important when you have a shoot-in like that. The goaltender has the puck, but the players going to the net get there in a hurry. And Sean Burke wanted to drop that puck, maybe shoot it up to his wingers and help his club clear the puck out of the zone, but because of the quickness of Buffalo, they weren't able to do that. We have a face-off coming up, and the Sabres will attempt to score a quick one off a draw. Sabres with the net empty, trailing 4-1. And a face-off to the left of Sean Burke. Dale Howard-Chuck with plenty of ice time here today. He's on the ice along with Mogilny, Adet, Sweeney, Gary Galley, Doug Bodger, Scott Pearson scoring the only goal for Buffalo here today. Alexander Mogilny drawing 1 assist.
Bill Howard-Chuck trying to lead the forces to make this game halfway respectable for Buffalo. Dominated since the opening faceoff by Hartford.
Now Howard-Chuck and Sweeney's going to take the faceoff, but what you want to do is just try to set it up here so you get a shot and a goal. Get it as quick as you can. You can see Sweeney with his bottom hand turned around. He's going to try to pull it back to Galley.
Here's Adet shooting the puck, and that is tipped off the stick of Burke. Nicely set up by Buffalo. The connection almost there. 35 seconds left to play here in the third period. 4-1 Hartford. Wesley tips it over. Bodger's got it behind the net over to Mogilny. Lets it go for Howard-Chuck. Here's a dead shot stopped by Burke. Rebound, Galley. Save Burke. Rebound again. Score! Buffalo! Alexander Mogilny fired it in. And the Sabres come within 2.
That all began with the Sabre Sweeney winning a faceoff. He was trying to pull it back behind him to the right, but it went to the left. Sabres end up with a loose puck in front. Mogilny puts it into the empty net after Sean Burke had made about 3 big saves. Watch the puck on this shot by Galley. Mogilny turns on the left of the screen, picks it up, and fires it into the empty net. 2.8 seconds to go, and the Sabres trail by 2.
It's been a dry time of late for Alexander Mogilny. 1 point in his last 3 games, and finally gets his 13th of the season. The official time, you note there, 1934. 6th skater is still out there. Howard-Chuck off the side. Rebound on Adet, just shot it wide. 10 seconds left. Galley leaving it in front. Batted by the Whalers along the boards. Galley's got it down to right point. Another shot. Tips over by Adet. Rebound Mogilny. Couldn't tame it. And in the closing moments, the Whalers' last attempt. But they win the game 4-2. 30-30 in shots. Tough day for Buffalo here at the Civic Center. And the 5-game unbeaten streak snapped. So Buffalo's record 16-13-6 will stay at 38 points. Boston moves ahead. And the Hartford Whalers improve their record now 15-16-5, 35 points. Jim, the save of the game.
Off the face-off in the Hartford zone. Bob Sweeney as the puck slides back to Donald Adet, and a great stop by Sean Burke as he tips it away with the shaft of the